Imagine for a second the absolute richest person on Earth. Who pops into your head? Probably a modern tech mogul, right? Well, welcome to this historical explainer where we're going to completely shatter that assumption. Today, we're uncovering a lost secret of extreme wealth that outshines today's billionaires by a mile. We're exploring a story that history somehow just managed to push into the shadows.
Okay, let's dive right into this. On one side, we've got our modern titans of industry, guys like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, but on the other, a 14th century Muslim king named Sultan Mansa Musa. The truth is, the wealthiest person in human history wasn't building rockets or running massive e-commerce platforms. He was ruling an empire centuries ago. And his wealth was so astronomical, so completely off the charts, that modern economists and historians literally cannot calculate an exact number. It just totally defies modern valuation.
Part 1. The richest human in history. Part 2. The Great Gold Empire of Mali.
So, who exactly was this guy? And if he had wealth that makes today's billionaires look like they're, dealing in pocket change, why is his name so often overlooked when we talk about history's great leaders? To really understand the sheer scale of his wealth, we have to zoom out geographically to the heart of Africa. Forget the Roman, Ottoman, or British empires for a second. 14th century Mali wasn't just wealthy on paper, it literally sat right on top of the Earth's greatest gold reserves. During this era, the overwhelming majority of the entire world's gold supply was mined directly out of the Mali Empire. That was the absolute bedrock of their rise to global superpower status.
But here's the thing, it wasn't just gold sitting idle in a vault somewhere. Hundreds of bustling trade caravans bravely crossed the unforgiving, vast Sahara Desert to get to Mali. They were hauling in vital resources like salt, beautiful cloth, and exotic spices, and trading all of it for Mali's gold. This incredible flow of goods made the empire a vibrant, beating heart of global commerce, high civilization, and Islamic culture. Let's look at how this all builds across Mansa Musa's timeline. Interestingly enough, he wasn't actually meant to be king at first. He ascended to the throne in 1312 after the previous ruler, the previous ruler sailed off on a massive naval expedition across the Atlantic Ocean and just completely vanished. From there, Mansa Musa heavily fortified the empire. But it was his actions a decade later in 1324 and the resulting economic shockwaves that etched his name into the history books forever.
Part 3. The Holy Journey and the Royal Caravan. This brings us to a really monumental pivot in world history. The year was 1324. Mansa Musa, as a devout Muslim, decided it was time to undertake the Hajj, the holy pilgrimage to Mecca. But as you might guess, this wasn't just a quiet, humble little trip to the house of Allah. He turned this religious obligation into the most magnificent, jaw-dropping royal caravan the world had ever witnessed. It was his way of effectively introducing his empire's immense glory to the rest of the world.
Just picture this scene for a moment. We are talking about tens of thousands of people marching across the scorching Saharan sand, brilliant scholars, heavily armed guards, merchants, and royal attendants. Accompanying them were hundreds of camels, and each one of those camels was heavily burdened with massive bags and chests of pure, unadulterated gold. It was a spectacle of unmatched grandeur, stretching literally as far as the eye could see.
Part 4. The Egyptian Economic Crisis. And this is where the story takes a wild, completely unintended twist. Think about this for a second. How can acts of immense charity and generosity actually backfire on a massive macroeconomic scale? See, when all that unimaginable wealth suddenly rolled into a major urban center like Cairo in Egypt, Mansa Musa didn't just hoard his gold, he gave it away, to the poor, to scholars, to merchants. But this incredible kindness was about to have some very severe consequences.
Now, what's really interesting here is this clear, step-by-step domino effect. Step 1. The Sultan distributes just an unprecedented amount of gold into the local Cairo markets. Step 2, because there is suddenly so much gold flooding the streets, the actual value of gold absolutely plummets. It's the most brutal example of supply and demand in human history. And Step 3, Egypt's entire economy falls under intense pressure. Merchants lost absolute fortunes, the markets crashed, and it threw the entire region into a devastating economic crisis that lasted for years.
It got so bad that Mansa Musa actually realized the accidental damage his charity had caused. Historical sources suggest that he even attempted to borrow or buy back the gold from the Egyptian markets at exorbitant interest rates, just trying to remove it from circulation and stabilize their economy. It's an incredible historical proof that circulating too much wealth too fast can literally cripple an entire nation.
Part 5.
A legacy of knowledge, not just wealth.
But look, if we only remember Mansa Musa for crashing a foreign economy with too much gold, we are missing the absolute best part of the story. His true greatness lay far beyond the gold mines of Mali. After completing his Hajj, he returned home and turned his attention to a city named Timbuktu. Under his visionary rule, Timbuktu became far more than just a dusty trading post. It became a shining minaret of knowledge, culture, and Islamic education. Keep in mind, while parts of Europe were still kind of stumbling through their early developmental stages, Timbuktu was a glowing beacon of global enlightenment.
He took his vast wealth and channeled it directly into building this intellectual legacy. We're talking legendary infrastructure here. The Sankore University, grand mosques with breathtaking architecture, world-class Islamic madrasas, and immense libraries housing thousands of rare, precious manuscripts. By building all of this, he naturally attracted the brightest scholars, architects, and students from North Africa, Egypt, and the Middle East, all coming to live and study in Mali.
So, the absolutely crucial point to remember is this: gold runs out, but knowledge endures for generations. Mansa Musa understood a fundamental truth that, frankly, many leaders today seem to completely forget. Material wealth is finite. You can spend it, you can lose it, you can even accidentally crash a whole economy with it. But the legacy of knowledge, justice, and faith, that is eternal.
Which brings us to a powerful realization that really summarizes his entire life. Real greatness isn't in accumulating wealth, but in using it for the betterment of humanity. That is exactly why, 700 years later, we are still analyzing him today. He didn't just hoard the world's gold. He utilized it to build institutions of learning that literally elevated human civilization.
And that leaves us with a final, provocative thought. If gold runs out one day, what legacy will you leave behind? It really makes you ponder the true nature of wealth, doesn't it? What it really means to be truly rich. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found this dive into historical wealth and legacy as fascinating as I did, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what piece of history or historical mystery you want analyzed next. See you next time.